Hello, you beautiful, wonderful, amazing people, and welcome back to another episode of Hitting the Bars. It is Keltie, Savvy Wavy One. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Fabulous. This weekend I did a spa with my mom.
Mm,
We don't do like presents for each other, but we'll do like trips and
yeah,
experiences. And I surprised her with it. And all I gotta
love.
say is spa days are so wholesome. And I get they are expensive, right? But if you can find a spa that you can like hang all day
Hmm.
there, right? Like they have like ours has like a cold plunge and a hot spring and a steam room. So we spend hours there. So it makes it worth it. But I was really just thinking of like you trying to do that with a friend because if you think about it, if you go out drinking on the weekend, you spend a lot of money, right? Like drinks
Hmm.
20 bucks a piece or you eat out or something like that. Do a spa. Treat yourself to like do it with your friends. I think it's a
Yeah,
fun thing to do together.
I love that. And like you said, you're going to end up actually spending, it seems like a lot, but going out is even more expensive. And you don't make bad decisions and you wake up feeling more refreshed on Monday. I like it.
Literally. You really literally take care of your body. It's amazing.
Hmm. It's crazy how that works.
Uh-huh.
Now, I got a hot take. Have you heard about
What?
the girlies using beef tallow?
Yes. So, do you tell me what you think about it, and I'll tell you
So
what I
I'm
think.
currently on a challenge with it. So I'm testing it. I'm trying it in my food. I'm trying it in my skincare. And I have a lot of mixed things about it. What are your thoughts? I want to know.
Okay, so one of my friends, if anybody is looking for beef tallow that is like organic, completely, she
Hmm.
makes it from home.
Hmm.
It's called Cloud Naturals.
Yeah.
She gave me some. I love it. I put
Hmm.
it on my hands every single night because anti-age those hands.
Yeah.
I put it on my clavicle and my neck, not my face
Hmm.
because I have a different mask for that. But I personally really like it. Hers smells like lavender, and
Hmm.
it is so funny how Bentley is so drawn to the smell because it's beef tallow.
Hmm.
But what do you think on it?
So my thoughts, first of all, for cooking, it's been nice. I enjoy it. It's just like cooking with butter. Awesome. But I will say exactly that. So I just got like raw, pure beef tallow, not raw, but you are just pure beef tallow. No scents, no essential oil, nothing. And like when I put it on, I'm like, I'm going to attract every dog and like crazy carnivore eating man ever wearing this. And I'm so like, it's like, I'm mainly just using it on my elbows right now. I'm eventually going to test it on my face to test it for the girlies because it is all the rage. But it makes me laugh every time I put it on my elbows. Like I just sit there and I could just smell myself and I'm in this new office and I'm like, these poor people around me. Like I just smell like a T-bone steak. I'm like, I will not use this if I smell like a steak. So obviously there's ones that like smell better like you're using, but for pure scientific reasons, I just had to start with a neutral and now I'm walking around smelling like beef and it's not cute.
So the tallow actually smells like straight up beef.
It smells like when you get it, it smells like, have you ever had like a T-bone steak and like that's been cooked and the actual T-bone after that there's a bit of the marrow and the grit? That is exactly what it smells like. Or like true hearty ground beef. That is the smell
Oh,
it is.
funny. I think that's where you're going wrong for your skin. Because there's beef tallow you can buy, like my
Yeah.
friends. It doesn't smell like anything. Well, I mean, it smells like lavender. That's it.
Yeah.
But like, I've never smelled beef on it. So that's
Yeah.
hilarious. I also didn't realize people cooked with it. She just was like, hey, try this product. She has a business now. She goes to farmers
Yeah.
markets and things like
Good
that.
for her.
And I was like, this is amazing. So I use it
Yeah.
every single night.
It's
But
fun
if
to
it
cook
smelled
with.
like beef, I think I would hate it.
Yeah, so but I'll eventually try one of those. But to cook with, it's just kind of like cooking with butter, which are nice. And it's
Love
got like a
that.
higher what's it? Not boil, higher heat point or whatever. So like
Oh,
unlike
like
olive oil.
avocado oil.
Yeah, exactly. But I can't have avocado, so there you go.
True, you can't.
Hmm.
Okay, well, my second hot take. Have you heard of the show Traders?
I think I've seen it. No, I'm gonna tell me.
Okay, let me tell you about this show, you guys. I am a big, big fan of game shows. I like really enjoy when it's this dumb game that people are arguing about and when there needs to be like strategy and like backstabbery. I freaking love it. So the premise of Traders is it's all these reality TV stars coming together, and I'm not kidding you when the idea of it is Heads Up 7 Up. Or like that game where you're like, who murdered somebody?
Yeah.
It's so they fake murder people. And in the beginning, the host, it's based in Scotland in a beautiful castle. And they like, it's very theatrical, but literally it's Heads Up, 7 Up. So what you do is like, he asks like, who wants to be a traitor? A traitor means you have to lie to everybody and you have to murder people each night. And the theatrics is like, obviously you're not getting murdered. And then there's another group called the Faithful, and they're trying to figure out who these traitors are that are pretending to be faithful. So it's literally like you have to guess who freaking tapped you, right? Or like we used to play this game in school. And so he taps on 3 people and then they're killing. And they're always trying to convince you and gaslight you into like, oh my gosh, it must be this person. It's my new favorite show. Nice. It is so entertaining. Boston Rob from Survivor came on and I was like, yes, I love his strategy. It is phenomenal. So anybody that likes silly game shows, you need to check it out. It's on Peacock. Chriselle from Selling Sunsets is on it.
Ooh,
a lot of housewives are on it, which I don't watch those shows, but it is so funny because like there's some that are from Survivor. So they know strategy. They know how to deceive and how to play a game. And then there's freaking housewives and like Chriselle who sells homes that is like, I don't know how to play this game. I'm just trying to stay alive. It's that's so fun. Yeah.
I need to see this.
I just like anybody, please let me play traitors. I'm not a reality TV star, but all I want to do is be a traitor and see if I can get away with it.
Okay, we're going to soundbite that and then hopefully it goes viral and you get all the show.
One day. I'm like, I made it, bitches.
I believe.
Mark my words.
It will happen.
I am that girl that will apply to, I've applied to Survivor for years. I've applied American Race. I love that stuff. It's so much fun.
It's going to happen one day. I know it. I got a feeling.
One day.
So I got a hot take. You know, color seasons, like the color matching and like your spring, summer, autumn. I don't know if I believe it. It's
really?
Okay, I've got it tested. So, and I love it. I love these things, but I've got tested like by 3 different methods and everyone always says I'm a spring and I'm not denying that I'm a spring. Okay. That's my thing. I'm not angry about it. Being a spring's fun. Who doesn't love the springtime? But every time I wear something that's not in my color palette, I get so many people like, that's your color. Oh my God, you look amazing. Like the amount of times, like there's certain colors that I know look good on me and they never end up in the spring color palette. So I'm kind of like, what's going on here? And then like the amount of times like I'll wear a warm foundation or something on camera, I get so many comments be like, Keltie, why are you wearing orange? You should wear cool. So I'm like, what is it?
That's fair. Maybe you can people be both?
Well, I am a neutral undertone, not to be that girl, but like I feel because I'm neutral, I'm a little bit warm toned, but I think just like depending on the lighting, I could be cool toned. So like I think that's half of it. It's just because I'm neutral, the lighting affects what looks good on me or if I have a tan or not. So that's why I was like, I feel when I'm tanned, I look really like better in certain cool tones. And then when I'm pale, I look better in warm tones. So that's what I think it is. But
you're a chameleon.
I guess, but every time like I'm like, these are my colors. I finally know. I go on YouTube and someone says like, oh, this is wrong. I'm like, oh.
You're like, wait, I can't believe people tell you that.
Well, they don't say it meanly, but you know what I mean? They're like, oh, Keltie, you're totally a summer. I'm like, I just spent $100 to get a color analysis. And now this person lit it, and I was like, and they mean well, but I'm like, I don't know what it is. And they stare at me a lot longer than this random person I sent 2 photos to.
Fair.
So, I don't know who to believe. So I'm just gonna wear what I feel good in. That's the conclusion.
Fair. Sometimes though, I just feel like saying, I'm glad I didn't ask. Glad I didn't ask.
Good idea.
And I have to check myself as well. When I'm going to comment something to my friend, I'm like, she didn't ask.
True. It's a reminder. Or just like pretend you're the season you are. Like I know you love autumn. Just say you're in autumn. Maybe you might not be. Just embrace it. Pick your season and just roll with it.
We have free will. If I want to wear a harsh, bright ass yellow, even though I'm in autumn, I'm gonna regret it, but I'm gonna do it. I have this bright blue sweater I freaking love that is nothing like autumn. Do it. Who cares?
I love it.
Makes you feel good. Wear it.
Free will is a great thing. It's a reminder.
Free will.
Right now. Like I love, those are one of my favorites. I think I've talked about on the podcast. We're reminding you of free will and you just throw a cake. I'm like, it's a great reminder. It's a great reminder.
I absolutely love the idea of free will. Every once in a while, I'm like, wait, I can just go to the beach on a Monday. Free will.
Totally can. We could just quit our jobs and move wherever. Not really. Actually, you can't. But kinda. Yeah. Kinda.
I can cut my hair off if I want. Free will. Right?
Wow.
Doesn't mean I will. I don't know. But.
Yeah. Well, we have the free will to debunk 6 fitness myths today. And that's what we're talking about. The new year, new me. And there's going to be a lot of advice out there, some great and some not so great. So today we're going to debunk 6 that you're probably going to see on your news feed that it's just a hard no. And so number 1, we're going to start off with just probably the most chronically myth that goes around that's false, and it's spot reducing fat. The idea you'll hear, this ab workout to get abs, or do you know what I mean? It's less about the abs, but like reduce your stomach by 2 inches. And then it's a bunch of crunches and things like this. Tone the legs by doing squats, those classic ones. And what are your thoughts on the spot reducing?
Well, it would shock you how many people still believe this in this day and age, because I do have to remind people often that adding more ab workouts does not mean you will get abs. But I will say that there is like a way that, I mean, tone is like an overused word, right? But if you are somebody that, like for me, I carry a lot of my cellulite and fat in my legs. So if I do exercise and lift and grow my leg muscles, I am able to like at least achieve that look, that they look a bit more toned, slimmer, right? But it doesn't mean I'm spot reducing fat. It has to be overall your body fat percentage, right? And I just hold weight more in my legs, but it doesn't mean I'm doing legs a crazy amount to look a certain way. It's just naturally with me lifting more and focusing on legs, I can help with even just breaking up the pockets in the back of my legs that do carry cellulite, but I always will still have cellulite no matter the sunlight, the lighting, like I always will, right? Yep. That's at least my take is like, I always tell girls, like you can absolutely help with certain aesthetic goals, but you have to know it's a well-rounded picture. It's not just like you'll get abs if you do ab exercises. Like that depends on your genetics. I'll never have an 8-pack. No matter how thin I get, that's not in my genetics is to have an 8-pack where some people do, right? Like Lucy Davis. Oh my goodness.
She's the perfect example.
Washboard abs. No, washboard abs.
And neither of them really train abs. And that's just like genetics. And it really comes down to genetics of you and me are a great example. Like I hold my weight. The last thing to go is my lower abs. And like I kind of always have thinner thighs and arms. Like I just don't hold as much fat around there. So that's going to be like different. So if I was under the mindset of like, oh, to reduce my lower belly pooch, I got to do a bunch of crunches. I'm like, no, all that's going to do is build your ab muscle, which is great. And there's nothing wrong with that. But, you know, I think the thigh thinning ones are funny. I'm like, no, you're building a muscle. It's not going to reduce the fat there. All you're doing is building the muscle. You can't control where your body reduces fat. That's going to be from being in a calorie deficit. Now, what you said, like, yeah, you want to build that muscle because then when it looks toned, it's not the skinny fat, lack of better terms. And that's why it's important and obviously for health and that. But unfortunately, you can do 1,000 booty, workouts and ab crunches and you're not going to get to choose all that. It's just more overall and how your genetics play. So unfortunately, if you hear someone saying you're going to lose an inch off your waist, the only thing that kind of does work is stomach vacuums. You can build the muscle that kind of gets you steadied up and building that core. And like if you're rib flare, but that's such a unique, specific situation that I'm like, no, but that's not crunches. That's completely different.
Totally. And like, I cannot get to the point of what your legs would be compared to mine, because even if I was to reduce fat and build more muscle, they're going to stay muscular because I have muscular thighs and calves, right? From my genetics. So it's more of just like what I try to do is I embrace it that I'm strong. I want them to look great. I totally understand that. But like I used to chase that look of like, I was always my dream was having skinny legs. I don't know why, but like people that have thicker thighs that have the soccer legs, like I grew up being told that. And like it wasn't a positive reaction when people told me that. And I was like, oh. And so now when I'm older, I'm like, these are strong, powerful. Like you just have to reframe your mindset a bit, but and kind of accept that your genetics like play into it. Otherwise you're just going to end up hating that for the rest of your life. And know what flatters you as well.
Fully.
I'm big into that.
Yeah. And there's nothing you can do. Like I have a very long femur and I can't change the length of my femur. So it changes how I squat, which changes my glute engagement. And like and they're just like learning that versus someone else will have a shorter femur and they can do that. Like we can't change that. And that's just, so you might as well, like you said, embrace what you can. So on to myth number 2. all cardio has to be intense hit. I used to think like cardio had to be like sprint, max out 30 minutes, heart rate completely elevated. Now it's actually a lot more beneficial to do things that are either like 1 and 2. You do short bouts of sprints, couple VO2 max training a week, or zone 2 is also beneficial. Walking is beneficial, but it's not every cardio session has to be 30 minutes of maxed out. And there's also just a point of diminishing returns in workout. I think we think of like more is better, but you can only get so strong every week. You can only get so fast every week. So any extra you do, like say it's 1,000 crunches is what gets you your mass muscle growth. What point is 101? Like there isn't. It's not going to make you grow any faster. So all that's going to lead is to overtraining. So the idea of like more and more and more is better. It's like, no, just kind of push to the point that you can actually see progress and make sure you properly recover.
Also, if you were to only do high intensity cardio, you're going to hit a plateau to some extent with that. So it's great. Like, it's great to just have multiple ways and forms of training cardio, like walking, then running, then doing sprints, doing the bike, then doing, like you just don't want to get too comfortable. And even with high intensity, you'll just hit a plateau. It'll be frustrating. So yeah, it's definitely beneficial to be well-rounded when it comes to your cardiovascular health.
Love it. Myth number 3, intuitive eat. So the idea is like, and of course that sounds great, like just listen to your body, eat when you're hungry, stop when you're full, have a well-balanced diet. But what do you do when your body's craving Doritos? Like I think a lot of influencers, people online, fitness, I think we've all been there, be like, eat intuitively, listen to your body. And the audience is sitting there being like, my body wants me to eat cake. What are you saying? Intuitively eat? So I think realizing intuitive eating is a skill. Some people are naturally born with it. Some people were raised in that way that they can do it. But a lot of people have to learn about nutrition and then slowly trust themselves enough to do intuitive eating. So if you're someone right now listening and you're like, intuitive eating's hard for me, that's okay. It doesn't mean you're like a bad person, you're failing. Just realize it's a skill like budgeting for finance or anything else.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with that. I used to be a very big intuitive eater. And after a while, you start to lose like what your macros actually are because your body changes, right? And then you don't know how to adjust it. So now when I train gals, I'm very big on educating them at least on nutrition and trying not to villainize it because people will, immediately say, tracking macros. And to be fair, everybody has a different relationship. I had a different relationship from the start, but I thought it was such a responsible thing as an adult to learn what my macros needed to be, like in a healthy way to even remain at my starting weight. Or maybe I had a physique goal or whatever it is, or even just to feel energized. It's just a responsible thing. And then you can go from how you want it. Do you like counting macros? If not, then we can learn intuitive eating. But I just think as an adult, that's like the biggest thing that can help you is learning what you properly need because it's crazy, not just your physique goals, but how much it'll affect your mood, like how you show up for work, your energy, sleep. Like you just learn a lot through that.
Yeah, you got to educate yourself. Like I even remember I grew up playing sports and I always ate for sports and was always told like your coaches kind of tell you like, oh, eat this, make sure to go home, eat a banana, all this. And like I'd be home with my mom and she'd be like, oh, make sure to have this. And like I kind of learned things, and I could listen to my body. But I remember when basketball first ended, I accidentally lost a lot of weight right after the season because I was injured myself, so I wasn't working out, and I never knew how to eat without like sports in mind. And so I didn't have an appetite. So I didn't know proper portions or anything. I just knew like, oh, make sure to eat this much after practice. And suddenly there's no practice. And I remember like losing a bunch of weight really fast. And then I had to be like, oh no, I actually learned. And that's what kind of sparked me learning about calories and protein and all this and how to properly fuel my body. And when I got back post injury, I was able to fuel my body, but it's not something easy. And of course, you can take it to the extreme and become obsessive with counting calories as well. But I think it's just always take it from an approach of education, not obsession, and just make sure like it's about, that's the goal is intuitive eating, but it might not happen overnight. Now, speaking of goals, myth number 4, influencers' bodies. We see them, we inspire to them, people save it on Pinterest. It might not be influencer, it might be a model, whatever it is, but The reality is their bodies may be fake. Now, even us, I'm going to be honest, like you and me, I feel are very realistic, but when we take a photo, it's in the best lighting. It's our favorite pose. We're taking it in the morning. I'm not taking a bikini photo at 9 p.m. after I just had like a pot roast meal. Like I'm not. At the end of the day, my abs look a lot different. And then that's just like us being a quote unquote more realistic. Then we have to take into account there's people that lie about plastic surgery, photoshopping, illegal pharmaceuticals that men like to take. And we just have to remind yourself, people online are taking a photo first thing in the morning, perfect lighting, spray tan, and everyone does it. And like at the same time, it's not like inherently an evil thing. Also, like some people, it does come to the point, like I'd say the evil would be photoshopping, and not necessarily photoshopping, pharmaceutical drugs, and like lying about plastic surgery, and then lying and saying they got it all natural and they're doing that. I was like, that's the bad side. But the average person doesn't want to post something they look bad online either. So I think it's just, I have to remind myself every time I see someone online, I'm like, that is the best version of themselves, and you post the best version of yourself. And like, we just all have to constantly be reminded of that.
Yeah. And a lot of it also is their genetics, right? And so you just have to give yourself grace with it. And you're totally right. I love when I see those reels of like, I can look this way, but I can also look this way, when it's like unrelaxed and things like that. I also think it's their prerogative to, if they don't want to post those types of reels, because you really don't know what someone's going through, if they have body dysmorphia, if they're struggling with something. So I always try to give benefit of the doubt. But it makes me so frustrated when I have a friend that bought a booty program from a girl. It was so obvious it was a BBL, and she was avoiding all the questions. And like, if you looked into it, you found the plastic surgeon. And that's where I'm like, they're capitalizing off of something that if she wanted to admit it, all right, whatever. And then people can still purchase the program. But to just avoid that question is like, you know, it's, but also these girls need to be educated on like, do your research. But even how I have like fake boobs, it's like when I get leaner, my boobs look bigger naturally, right? But if I didn't have fake boobs, they would obviously look even smaller. I mean, they were already small to begin with before, but still, it's like little things like that. And like, I don't always come out saying I have fake boobs anymore, because it's been almost over 4 years. But it's just like little things like that you could Google it and research and be like, oh, it's not just her working her chest. Exactly. Like, no, girlfriend, if it's extremely round, that's fake. And a reminder, if you do have aesthetic goals, it's fine, but try and follow people that like, I don't want to say like realistic, but someone who maybe has a similar body type to you. Because I remember when I was really into like my booty building phase, I'd follow these girls, because in my mind, I'm like, they'll motivate me to want to lift heavier and do more and grow these booty. And I'd follow these girls. And then I met these girls and they're 5'1". And I will never have their booties, because they got shorter mechanics. It's way easier for them to build a booty. And so now, you know, and then I started to realize, like, oh, and of course I still follow and support those girls. That's different. There's no like anything wrong, but it's a realization of like, no, follow someone who has a bit more of your said longer femur. And then that's going to be a bit more aspirational versus like just staring at someone just to stare at them and hoping that like makes you better. I'm like, it doesn't quite work that way. No, absolutely.
Now, probably the most important one that us millennials had to learn, because Gary Vaynerchuk ruined this for us, but myth number 5, sleep when you're dead. Now, I think there was a very big era in the 2010s of like sacrifice sleep, push yourself. But if we've learned anything, the amount of progress you'll lose by not sleeping mentally, emotionally, physically, it's like those extra few hours are actually so important. And so I think we used to think just sleeping was not productive, when I was like, actually the most productive thing you can do for your fitness, health, and mental well-being is sleeping.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And also I think like we do have time to sleep, in the sense of like, if we prioritize our schedule, like you were saying, and fit it in, we can fit in that extra. Like even, I'll give an example of, I was like, you know what? I had my mom visit and she had to get the earliest flight, 6 a.m. And if I took her, I would have had to get up at like 3:50. And I was like, it was a Monday. I knew I was going to be working a lot. You and I were filming podcasts. So I was like, I will pay. I have someone that I can pay to pick you up. And I was like, do you mind? She was like, no, absolutely. Get your sleep. So, something like that I'm trying to learn to like tell people what I need. And like, I knew if I got up at 3:50, I would be ran ragged and like tired and grumpy the rest of the day, where I'm like, it's worth it. I'll treat her myself, because it's me that's saying I don't want to drive, because I live quite far from the airport. But it's little things like that you're communicating and just being like, hey, this is what I need. It's the biggest thing I'm learning right now in 2025 is like, let them and then let me handle what I need. But sleep is so important to me, and I feel so physically ill if I don't get it, and it ruins me for like 2 days. Like, it's something new that I'm having. And so little things like that, I guess you could say I could have been like, I'm gonna take her and I'm gonna then grind and work really early, where I just knew I would burn out and I can't handle it. So it's like little things like that just give yourself a bit more grace on prioritizing the sleep, because you'll just burn out and then you'll be not productive.
Yeah. Love that. Love that. And last myth, I think it would just be funny, is a reminder of MLMs and the false promises. And I think there's so many of those. And it's not necessarily just MLMs. It's a lot of these businesses. But you know, the specific ones that it's too good to be true, and someone's going to sell it to you and they're going to say, oh, this will change your life. And just especially the fitness world is so full of it, whether it be Herbalife, Amway. There's so many of those. The person like, just trust me. And just always ask, why is this person peddling it? Is it just something they love? Maybe they're making low commission, or are they trying to rise up in the ranks? And yeah, what are your thoughts on all the supplement MLMs out there?
I feel like they've gotten a little bit quieter, because people are now catching on to them. Where like back when we had just graduated college, I feel like I saw everybody do it. But you're totally right. I still get them. Sometimes I get in comments where someone will be like, where is this that she has? And they will literally redirect you to their product, and I'll be like, no, that's not what I have. Like, don't try to be sneaky on that. And I'll tell the girlies, like, that's not where I got it from. But yeah, it is interesting where there's just notice if there is an agenda. And to be fair, there are a lot of influencers. This goes in hand with you being paid for an ad, right?
Fully.
So also just being aware on like, do you think they actually really enjoy it? Did I talk on the podcast how I got by a leave-in conditioner for my hair?
Yep.
Yeah. So it's like little things that I was like, I really, really believed she loved it. And I was like, shit, it was an ad. And she'd sprinkled it in. And like, if it was great, because I've bought products from like Kylie Holbrook is great about it.
She's so good.
She has like the best recs, you just know. And so now that's what I aspire with my communities. I'm going to only work with brands I really, really enjoy and love. Because this girl, I realized it was an ad because it was, honey, it was not a leave-in conditioner. It was not a detangler. Oh, so little things like that just be aware and do your research and make sure it's something. That's why I love having a Like It, Know It. There's really like, it's awesome. You get a little commission, but it's not a livelihood. It's, you do it for fun. Nice little kickback if you like it.
Exactly. And just be mindful, because I feel like the MLMs in that world, and it's like the undisclosed, because like you and me, like when I do an ad, it's so blatantly obvious an ad. It's like I'm getting paid. And like, and you just be mindful of those things. I think it's just like the consumer in this world. And like you said, that doesn't mean everything is inherently evil at the same time. Like we both use things we're absolutely obsessed with, and that's why we want to tell about it, and that's why we want to work with those brands. But just sometimes you're like, that seems a little too good to be true. Or are you selling that? You know what I mean? Just have your spidey senses up in this world.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. You know what was not an ad, but they sent me? Oh my gosh. It's like La Provence. It's like a French oil company. I'm going to butcher the name, but it is so funny. So they send me product regular. They don't ask me to post, but I love, they have this shower gel oil, and it's a shower oil, and it is the most delicious thing in the world. It's like this yellow bottle, and it's hilarious how everybody's come to visit me, and I leave it in the guest bathroom because I have a couple that they've sent me. All of my moms have bought it.
Yeah.
I've got 4 sets of moms, right? Oh my gosh. My mom just recently was like, this is amazing. I'm going to buy it. My stepmom literally called me and was like, I bought it. Like, it's so funny how some things you actually genuinely love. And like, to be fair, they didn't pay me for an ad. I just was like, this thing's amazing. Like, it's cool when you see those. And if people do really believe in that product, that's amazing, right?
Yeah. That's why I'm waiting on my Aura Rings sponsorship. I've sold so many of these mother effing things, and they don't give me the time of day. I sold 2 in the last week to friends. I was like, Aura, I'm so mad, but I'll keep promoting it. And that's why they do it, because they're like, she's good. She's going to keep talking about us. We don't need to pay her.
They should just at least like give you a free one for your mom or something.
Just follow me on Instagram or something. Just give me a like. Like, just acknowledge I exist. I made a whole YouTube video for you and 0 acknowledgement. Like, I'm salty. I was like, I just even like a thank you. Just a like once. That's all I ask. Acknowledge I exist.
One day it'll come, I promise you.
One day. I was like,
there's nothing better than when a brand that you really want to try reaches out and you're like, oh, amazing. The problem that I have is they don't ship to me half the time. But I'm like, at least you offered. And at least that you noticed me.
I appreciate it. It's the little things.
It's like the cool girl in high school.
Yep. Just acknowledge I exist. Speaking of cool girls in high school, we got 2 questions from our audience because they were all cool girls. I love our audience. And the number 1 is, what is your typical morning routine?
Ooh. Mine is I wake up early. I always walk Bentley, no matter what. 3 times a week, I do a long walk with friends, or I go by myself, and that's like my little nice me time. And like I try and wait to have my coffee, get my water in, and I usually hop on my laptop. I'm definitely a girl that likes to do a little bit more of her deep work in the morning, and then get ready for the day. I try to dress. I don't dress like normal streetwear because I'm not going anywhere. But I do try to at least get ready, put a little bit of makeup on, something that makes me feel good about myself. And then I'll usually start breakfast. Like right now it's 11 a.m. after I'm going to have breakfast. What do you do?
Mine, wake up, I go splash my face with water to wake me up, and then I do my skincare. Then I'm off to, I chug as much water as possible. I have my water bottle filled the night before, and just pound it down while my coffee's making. And then I sit and enjoy my coffee, and we'll like read a magazine or a newspaper, as we've talked about in previous episodes. And then I'll write my agenda like I have on my iPad. I'll write my to-dos for the day / brain dump. Just your thoughts are going 100 miles. I'm like, okay, this is what I'm doing. Do this, da-da-da. And then I'm walking out the door to the gym. And then I get ready at the gym. And I'm at the office before 9. Usually between 8 and 9. I roll in and get to work.
I love it. You have your morning routine like dialed down.
I do. It's simple. And I used to do so many more in this. I'm like, water, coffee, some skincare, movement, boom, I'm good. That's all I need.
Yeah. At the end of the day, that's all you need.
Isn't that the truth? And then one thing, what are you most excited for in 2025?
Ooh, okay. I'm turning 30. Dirty 30.
Excited. Welcome to the good decade.
I know. And that has been a really tough thing for me because I just like have been looking back at my 20s and I've just really enjoyed them. I feel like I've learned a lot. And then I also think like, do you ever sometimes feel like you know more than your parents or you know more than somebody? And then you're like, wait, the fact you're like I told my mom yesterday, I'm like, you had a life before me. That's wild. Like she didn't have me till she was 31, 32, right? So it's pretty crazy. Just like, this is my selfish years if I decide to have kids. Like, I guess that's what I'm excited about is like, I'm trying to have a good mindset going into 30. My dad told me that was the hardest birthday for him. And so I'm like, I really just want to romanticize it because it'll be even better than my 20s, right?
Oh, yeah. 30s, I know it's cliche and like the Gen Zs laugh at me, but 30s really are the new 20s. Like what you're painted your 20s as is what your 30s actually is. Like you still feel young, you still feel youthful, you can go out, but like you know what you want, you know what you're doing, and you're just a bit more emotionally stable. And because of skincare, we don't look as old as we think we will at 30. So
retweet, give me whatever, Lindsay Lohan. I was like, I'm gonna start trying lasers, microneedling. Like I'm gonna preserve this puppy.
Exactly.
Also, wait, quick note. I saw a comment. Somebody said, we're such haters of Gen Z.
I love Gen Z.
I've never thought that.
No.
Also, I technically identify with both, but I just, you made a little hater comment and I was like, okay, I'm just gonna notice.
Okay.
But I'm like, I feel like we're like, well, you are the conventional millennial in your age.
No, I'm younger. I'm Zillennial. We're both within that 5-year cusp of Zillennial.
Okay.
Like
'Cause
I'm
I
a
feel
young
like
millennial. I don't know. Yeah.
Yes, yeah. We were watching MasterChef, and my mom's a baby boomer, and she was like, "Oh my god, these people are so old," and I was like, "You're a young boomer. I'm a young millennial. Like millennials, I think also are like 45."
Yeah.
But it was funny because I was like, I feel like I identify with both, ma'am. Like
Fully.
no hate here. I equally make fun of millennials.
Oh, fully. Like all I could say is like I was 18 when I remember all the headlines being like, millennials can't afford a house because they're eating avocado toast. I'm like, I can't afford avocado toast. I'm living at home with my parents. Like, I remember being the youngest millennial was so weird because it was like, I just remember like hitting 18 and it being like, da da da. And then it instantly went to Gen Z. And like, I was like, I felt like I was never even acknowledged. So I'm like, I feel that's like how all my friends are. Cause like, you're probably the same. Your friend group is millennials and Gen Z because everyone's like within 5 years. So it's just like that's why I was like Zillennial. I was like, we're just, we make fun of it because we make fun of millennials and we make fun of Gen Z because we're kind of in that hybrid.
Dead giveaway, someone's Instagram. You know, like my friends that are younger versus my friends that are older.
Oh yeah.
Instagram. Love them both. But the way they do it, the stories, or it's the like slideshows sometimes for me with music that I'm like, let me teach you a better way.
Yeah. It's always the boomerang. The boomerang gives it away. I'm like,
I do love a boomerang.
You are born in the 80s. That's all I think when I see boomerang. I'm like, I'm still a 90s kid. I know not to use a boomerang.
Yeah, you're like, don't age me quite yet. And then sometimes when someone like some Gen Z does something crazy, I'm like, no, I'm a millennial. I'm like, let me just flip-flop.
Exactly. I was like, I don't fully, like, I know not to identify myself as a Gryffindor, but like, I know what a Gryffindor is. Like,
exactly.
That's where we're at. That's where we're at. And then
so we apologize if you guys think we're attacking you, but also that's life.
Yeah. I say we attack millennials more than we attack Gen Z. Let's be real.
I agree.
Like, I'm way harder.
I love those millennial Instagram accounts.
They're so funny.
They're hilarious.
They're like, but it's funny. Like those accounts, I feel like I remember seeing the older girls doing it. Like, you know what I mean? Like so many of them, like I didn't actually live, but I remember like watching the girls on TV, like dress that way and like wanting to dress that way. Like that's how I remember wanting to do my hair and all this, but like not quite being old enough for it. So it is a funny age to be a 90s kid.
It is.
And I guess I should wrap it up real fast. What I'm looking forward to.
Wait, what's your most excited? Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I said to wrap it up. Is I guess just a lot of personal things. Like I think I'm really loving my work. Like I have a workflow and I feel very like creatively fulfilled. And I feel like I run it like a business and making it a bit more, not in business, but like more kind of making my dream content and getting better and better at that. But like I'm romanticizing it. And then like I think I just have a lot of personal things between travel and relationships and friends and all that. Like it's a lot of people in my life are growing up and getting married and having kids and things like that. So it's just like personally I think my group of friends is in that transition of getting married, having kids, and I think I don't want to give away things too much, but exciting things like that.
So Keltie's pregnant, everybody.
I am. Definitely not. But nothing really with me, but with just like friends and family. I was like, there's exciting things, and I'm very excited.
I think it's really beautiful when you get to see those friends become a wife or become a mother. Like, I think that's so special.
So nice. So big things for the friend group and family. So that's what I'm
excited for. You also
for.
realize I have a friend, she's 36, and she has a 12-year-old boy, and I'll see him running around, and I was like, oh my God. I was like, Cole, where's your mom? And then I'm like, oh my God, I'm old that your mom is my friend. I'm like, like it literally makes me scream that I'm like, I'm that age group where I'm now that mom that you don't, I'm like, Mrs. Hummel, you know, I'm like, oh my God.
My friends are teachers and moms. I'm like, when did this happen? Like,
I know.
We're responsible for the youth?
Yeah, I'm like,
I was just told we're making fun of them.
I am that crazy woman that has wine with her. Like, I'm like, oh no.
Exactly. You're like, wine night hits a little differently now.
I'm like, he's old enough. He like, I told her, like, oh my God, he could hypothetically have a grandchild in 3 years if he wanted. She's like, absolutely not. I'm just saying, back in the day, they started them young. Like you could, but yet you look like you're 25, ma'am. So
Skincare. And with that, we're going to wrap it up. Thank you for listening. You guys can leave us a review, ideally 5 stars if you're listening on Spotify or the podcast app on Apple. And follow us on YouTube if you want to see our faces. And have a great day. Love you. Bye.
Bye.